Well, Tim, here's what I can tell you. They basically never tell me what to play. So I have to make my own choices. And very early on, I decided that I would make choices based on what I would like to hear, of course. And my sources, usually the records. I love the records. I love the arranging. I love the playing. I love the songs. I love the sounds. So I try to find the most important guitar parts to play because we don't have all the hands it would take to play them all sometimes when we're playing live. So I make choices based on what feels most important. And as far as like the solo stuff goes, basically I make my own choices there too, because I love so many of those classic solos on the records. It's quite a challenge to strike a balance between honoring what I love about them and also having room to improvise, because it's a fabulous opportunity to improvise. There's a lot of solo space in the guitar chair in this music, and one thing I know about Donald Walter is they don't need the stuff to sound or want the stuff to sound like the records. They want it to sound great, but they want it to be, loose and open. They're big jazz fans. They're big fans of improvisers. So it's a golden opportunity for an improviser, and I want to take advantage of it. So, but it's hard to imagine starting reeling in the years without playing that. So I virtually always do. But I veer off after a while. It's too much fun not to, because it's after I've played that tune for a while, I have a lot of fun doing it. Uh, Peg was a song that gave me problems that way in the beginning, because it's such a classic, it's such a classic solo that Jay Graydon plays. All that stuff he does. What is you? Well, that thing right there is so cool. It's a crazy solo. It's wacky, and it's so original sounding. Um, but so my challenge was to sort of to find a way. I always quote the beginning, like it would feel wrong not to play that, so I pretty much always do. Uh, but but I was in trying to answer that challenge, like, oh, how do I play stuff that's in that bag, but that's not the same exact stuff he plays? I took a little hint from the sound, of course, but also I looked at like some of these cool things that he's doing. That's so cool. He's got these diminished thirds. I'm thinking G7, I guess. Anyway, the cool thing about me was that the way he was using those open strings, and I said, well, there's probably a lot to explore. After all, it's in the key of G. The guitar is pretty good. All those notes all the open strings are in the key of G. It's kind of an opportunity waiting to be explored. So basically, to make a long story short, I did a lot of research and put together a little study, like a little etude of G7 open string stuff, and I use it now. Often use part of it as an intro to a tune that I play with my band when we work live. But it's I found cool things. Like, using these kind of chords, there's like there's just so many opportunities there, right? It's there's just a lot of stuff that comes up if you do some searching, and so that that found its way after a while into the solos on Peg. So it was of course, yes, that's the answer to that one. It particularly felt intimidating at the beginning because there were just there was just so much work to do, so many guitar solos on those records. I remember in the very early days, I was begging Donald to make the Bodhisattva guitar solo a tenor saxophone solo. I said, "Don't you think that would sound great on tenor?" He just laughed and walked away. Anyway, um, you know, of course, the work of those players is intimidating. But I've met most of those guys, and as people, they're not at all intimidated. They're very warm and generous, and as you probably would expect. And there's a way I discovered you could flip intimidation around. If it has power to intimidate you, it's got power to inspire you as well. So if you just do that little flip, since intimidation isn't very useful, inspiration is very useful. And if you just get down to business and stop thinking about the comparative thing and just say, well, what can I do? Figure out what you can do. Um, it's mostly about getting down to work. If the stuff has power to intimidate, it has power to inspire. So just I would just remember that and just get to work, because it's the time spent doing the research, doing the practice, and that gets you past that. So I hope that answers your question. I'll see you next time on Ask John.